Hello and welcome. My name is Anna Trombetta. I am a mezzo-soprano and online presenter of the 54th LiedDuo competition from the International Vocal Competition s-Hertogenbosch. This year is very special because it marks the first year that the IVC has entered into a cooperation with the St. Joost School of Art and Design to give students of the Art Academy the opportunity to create a new work specifically designed for the vocal competition. This year, that honor fell to Benjamin Schoones, based on his proposal for a new work that will be displayed during the vocal competition from November 16th through the 21st. We are standing here today in the St. Joost School of Art and Design in Breda, in Benjamin's workspace. Thank you so much for having us, Benjamin.
Thank you.
These two sculptures for the vocal competition that you created, they were based on a lied that you chose yourself, right?
Yes.
What is the name of that lied?
I chose Amore Morte from Donizetti.
Wonderful. That's a very, very beautiful lied. Did you grow up with classical music at all? Did you already have some sort of affinity with classical music, or was this the first time that you got introduced to it?
Well, yeah, I grew up with classical music. So my parents, they met at the conservatory. So they have like... So I grew up with like small concerts, and my dad plays piano, my mother plays harp. So, so yeah, classical music has always been in the family in a sense. But then later on, when you get into your teenage years, you start to develop your own sense of things sometimes.
Sure.
But then in the end, I saw this open call as an opportunity to fall a bit more back into the classical music as well. And, a bit more focus on it.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's two sculptures. Was that the original idea to make one of like love and death, or is that not?
No.
No.
No, yeah. The first initial idea was to make one sculpture.
Okay.
But then I felt like I could do more, and I felt like two would be a very interesting one. It's like. Both the sculptures don't really resemble love and death in a sense. Mm-hmm. It's not really a duality, but I think they can still work together in a sense. So the piece consists out of two elements, the metal frame and the ceramic pieces. And ceramic is made out of clay. When you put clay into the oven and you bake it, it becomes ceramics. So when I first start off, I start to get the clay and mix it together, so you get sort of a marbling structure. And I keep on folding it into different slabs and roll it out continuously until it gets to a certain pattern. And then you keep on working the clay in the sense that it becomes a bit more hard in a sense, because of course clay is moist. Eventually put it in the oven, it will also shrink like for 1 centimeter. And then, like when in the meantime, when I'm doing that, I started to weld the frames as well. It's also to get the idea of the format of the sculpture. I could like anticipate it into it and make it a bit bigger or smaller, so it really fits more into the narrative of the sculpture as well. So it really needs to work together. And once it gets out, you never really expect what's to happen. And you can also like change it a little bit. So of course the clay is into a solid form, but then when it's out of the oven, you don't really have to be afraid anymore that it really breaks that quickly. And then sometimes you figure out that some pieces are different than you expected. So the original position of this sculpture was initially different. Can like demonstrate it. Like the piece is now built out of two pieces, and since they let loose into the oven, I could put them into a different position, which I felt more interesting in a sense that it has a bit more of a different flow or a different position that it is before. And it's the same one with this one as well, when I just put the sculpture into a different position because I felt like it has more a dynamic position in a sense. It feels more active than it just lays down. You can defy gravity in a sense, or have the sculpture stand more on its own, or like taking it into a new position that you didn't think of before.
As a singer, I have a process of how I work towards, my end results. Of course, you're never done, but I can imagine as a visual artist that's taking an idea from your head and trying to put it into existence is a kind of a different process. How do you start from the first initial idea?
Well, of course, now the frame is a good reference point to stick with something, of course. But as you know already now, it can also change in a sense. But like the overall sculpture from ceramics, like you never really know what's happening. So I always try to keep that open in a sense that I can always just adjust the form or keep the options open as well.
Okay. And when you say that you never know what's happening with ceramics, what does that mean exactly? How exactly do you work with that material?
Well, yeah, you know the initial idea what you have in your head can never be like the final form in a sculpture. So keeping that in mind, it can also go into every direction, and because you never know how the material really works, how it dries, how many times you treat it, or try to move it in a sense. Like it sometimes has its limits. For example, if you have the cracks or something, that happens if you work the clay too much, but then you can use it into your advantage for something. Or like using different colors of clay, you never really know what the color exactly is going to be. So that's something you always have to keep in mind, that the material always has its own rules in a sense.
And so the color of the sculptures, that's a natural thing, or you put that on afterwards, or how does that?
Well, the darker colors, for example, the black and the white one, that's natural clay. And of course, this is pigment, so you can put it afterwards on it, but also during or before firing it into the oven. So I put it on before, and then I work the clay, and it gets the nerves into it. So in this case, I worked it before.
Oh, wow. Amazing. Fascinating. I know nothing about visual art, so this is really super interesting for me. Did you listen to Amore e Morte by Donizetti while you were working?
Yes, of course.
Of course.
Yeah, you have to, like, for music and clay, it's always like a very natural process, and it has some ambiguous feeling as well to it. So sometimes like music has like this natural flow, and clay has it as well. So when you work a sculpture, you kind of need like the idea of having something in the background, or maybe the piece in mind. So I felt that it's a very important aspect to have that, to really get to the form which I really wanted to have.
Yeah, absolutely. Just that constant stream of inspiration. Why ceramics? Does that have a special... Do you just like experimenting with the material? Does it have some sort of extra symbolism for you, or is it just what you like working with the most?
I felt it was the best choice to work with ceramics for this open call, because I really felt like having more like a three-dimensional object on the stage could be more interesting in a sense than putting a painting on there, I guess. I don't really want to contradict myself saying that, because of course I love painting as well. But for this sense, I really felt like ceramics could really do it, I guess.
So was there a specific singer who inspired you to choose Amore e Morti from Donizetti, or did you just hear it and think that's the song I want, or the text maybe?
I think it's more the text. And I heard different versions with different singers, but I cannot really point out which one was the specific one which got me the most. But because it's done by male and female singers as well. And I felt like every version had something to it, but yeah.
It was more the text in general. No, for sure. That makes
more
total
the text
sense.
and the song, it was more.
Yeah. Benjamin, thank you so much for having us and showing us these amazing sculptures that will be on display at the vocal competition. The 54th LiedDuo competition from the International Vocal Competition s-Hertogenbosch will take place from November 16th through the 21st, and we hope to see you there.